This is SOSF. What's up, you beautiful freaks? Pop open a cold one, get comfortable, because we're about to get weird. Seriously weird. It's called The Zombie Survival Guide by this guy, Max Brooks. Now, I know what you're thinking. Zombies, right? It sounds like some Hollywood B-movie stuff. Some spooky Halloween nonsense. But stick with me here, because this is wild. We talk about all kinds of weird stuff on this channel. Big blackout, shrinking people by 100 times at the drop of a hat. But what if one of the craziest threats is something we all just laugh off? So, I'm reading this thing, and it's not a joke book. It's written like a legit government-issued manual. Like something you'd get in the army before shipping out to a war zone. It's methodical, it's detailed, and honestly, it's kinda terrifying because it makes you think. It breaks down the whole phenomenon not as magic or some curse, but as a biological reality. A virus. The book calls it solanum. Think of it like rabies on a whole other level. Rabies is terrifying, right? It gets in your brain, rewires you, makes you aggressive. This solanum thing, according to the book, is 1,000 times worse. It gets in your bloodstream, travels to your brain, and then it just shuts you down. Your heart stops. Clinically, you're dead. But here's the freaky part. The virus keeps the brain going, but just barely. It reboots your body, but you're not you anymore. You're just this walking, shuffling thing, a puppet controlled by a single, terrifying instinct, to find living flesh and eat it. And the way it spreads is straight out of a nightmare. It's not in the air, thank God. You can't get it from drinking the water. It's transmitted through fluid contact. A bite is the classic way, right? That's what we always see. But this guide says even getting zombie blood or tissue in an open cut is enough. One drop, and that's it. Game over. There's no cure, no vaccine. Once you're infected, the clock is ticking. The book lays out the whole process, hour by hour. First, pain and discoloration. Then fever, dementia. Your body starts shutting down until, boom, you have a heart stoppage. 23 hours after the initial infection, you reanimate. You get back up, and you're one of them. It's a 100% infection rate and a 100% mortality rate. That's just insane. What's even crazier is how these things operate. They're not superheroes. They don't have magical powers. They can't fly or walk through walls. They're just reanimated human bodies, but with all the safety switches turned off. Think about it. We, as humans, are limited by pain and exhaustion. You lift something too heavy, you tear a muscle. You run too far, you collapse. These things, they don't feel pain. They will keep pushing, keep smashing, keep clawing until their muscles literally shred themselves to pieces. They don't get tired, ever. You could be the fittest marathon runner on the planet, but the tortoise and the hare story gets real dark when the tortoise wants to eat you. It will just keep coming. Their senses are a whole different ballgame. They can't see much better than us, but they don't rely on sight. Their hearing is sharp. They'll turn their head towards any little sound. But their sense of smell is their primary weapon. The book says they can smell living prey from over a mile away. People have tried to mask their scent with perfume or whatever. It doesn't work. They're tuned in to the specific scent of living creatures. It's like they're sharks on land, smelling a drop of blood in the water. And the only way to stop them, the only way, is to destroy the brain. A shot to the chest? Useless. Stab them in the heart? They don't need a heart. You can chop off their arms and legs, and they'll still be trying to bite you, wriggling on the ground like a severed snakehead. The brain is the command center, and you have to take it offline, permanently. This one single rule changes everything you think you know about fighting. Now, this guide goes deep into the nitty-gritty of how you actually survive this. First off, weapons. People always think bigger is better. You see in the movies, guys with machine guns, flamethrowers, chainsaws. But the book breaks down why most of that is a terrible idea. A machine gun? You're spraying bullets everywhere, wasting ammo, when you need one perfect headshot. It's loud as hell too. You might as well send up a flare that says, "Hey, free buffet over here." The noise just calls more of them to you. The chainsaw is another classic Hollywood weapon. Looks cool, sounds terrifying. But in reality, it's heavy, it's loud, and it needs gas. What happens when you run out of fuel in the middle of a horde? You're holding a 10-pound piece of useless metal, and you can just as easily slip and cut your own leg off. It's a disaster waiting to happen. What the book recommends is way more practical, more medieval, in a way. The best close combat weapon? A crowbar. Think about it. It's light, it's durable. You can swing it all day. It has enough force to crush a skull. And the little curved end? You can use that to stab through an eye socket right into the brain. Plus, it's a tool. You can use it to pry open doors or move heavy objects. It's multifunctional. Another top-tier weapon is a good machete. It's light, easy to handle, and perfect for the one thing you need to do: decapitate. A clean slice through the neck, and the body drops. The head is still dangerous, mind you. The book says the head can still bite for a while after it's been severed, which is just a horrifying thought. But at least the body is out of commission. The book even mentions the Shaolin spade, this ancient Chinese weapon that's like a staff with a blade on each end. It gives you reach and killing power. It's all about simple, reliable tools that don't jam or run out of ammo. For firearms, the best bet isn't some fancy assault rifle. The book actually recommends a good, solid semi-automatic carbine, something like an M1 carbine from World War II. It's light, reliable, you can carry a lot of ammo for it, and it forces you to aim your shots. You pull the trigger, one bullet comes out. It's about precision, not volume. Discipline is key. Then there's defense. Where do you go when the world goes to hell? The first instinct is to get in your car and get out of the city. The book says that's probably the worst thing you can do. The roads will be jammed solid with panicked people. It's a traffic jam of death, a smorgasbord for the undead. The best thing to do in a low-level outbreak is to stay put. Fortify your house, but you have to do it smart. If you have a 2-story house, the guide has this insane but genius strategy. Get all your supplies upstairs, food, water, weapons, and then demolish the staircase. Just take a sledgehammer and some axes and completely destroy it. Zombies can't climb. They have terrible coordination. If they can't get to the second floor, you've essentially created an island fortress. You can survive up there for weeks, picking them off from the windows. It's a wild idea, but when you think about it, it's brutally effective. Apartment buildings are even better. Get a bunch of people together, destroy the stairs to the lower floors, and you've got a vertical fortress. You have a community, people with different skills, a doctor, a mechanic, an engineer. That's a huge advantage. The book even breaks down public spaces. Schools are often good. They're built like bunkers, especially in the inner cities. But hospitals, the absolute worst place to go. That's where the first victims are taken, so they become the epicenters of the outbreak. Police stations are just as bad, because every panicked civilian will run there, creating a chaotic mob that's a magnet for ghouls. And this isn't just a bunch of guys sitting around spitballing ideas. The book is filled with these recorded attacks throughout history. It's presented as real historical data. There are accounts from ancient Egypt, from Roman legions in Scotland fighting off barbarian hordes that were actually zombies. The Romans figured out you had to go for the head and that you needed disciplined formations. There are stories from the Age of Sail, from the American frontier. There's a crazy one about a French Foreign Legion fort in North Africa that was besieged for 3 years. 3 years. They survived because they were disciplined, had supplies, and were in a solid fortress. These historical cases serve as the evidence, the case studies for all the survival techniques in the book. It treats the zombie threat as a recurring, documented phenomenon that has been covered up or misinterpreted throughout history. So what happens if it all goes wrong? What if it's a full-blown, planet-wide pandemic? A Class 4 outbreak? The end of the world as we know it. The book calls this living in an undead world. This is where it gets really bleak, but also strangely hopeful. The idea is to escape civilization entirely. Get a small, trusted group, and head for the most remote, inhospitable place on the planet. The desert, the Arctic tundra, a remote island. Somewhere so harsh that most people wouldn't even think of going there. Because the zombies will just keep wandering, but they'll mostly stay where the prey was. The bandits and crazies that pop up when society collapses, they won't have the skills or resources to survive in those extreme environments. So you go there, and you start over. You become a pioneer. You learn to farm, to hunt, to build. You create a new, self-sufficient society from scratch. It's a total reset. All the stupid, petty stuff we worry about every day? Gone. It boils down to the purest form of existence. Survival. And the book argues that if you're smart, if you're prepared, you can do it. You can wait them out. Because eventually, the zombies will rot away. It might take 5, 10, maybe even 20 years for the world to be relatively safe again, but they have a shelf life. They are, after all, decaying corpses. It's a crazy concept, man. The idea that our entire complex, interconnected world is so fragile. We depend on this delicate web of electricity, supply chains, and social order. If you cut one of those threads, the whole thing starts to unravel. A zombie apocalypse is just the ultimate stress test. It's not really about the zombies. It's about how we, as humans, deal with a complete collapse. Do we turn on each other, or do we work together? Do we panic and get eaten, or do we stay calm, use our intelligence, and survive? This whole thing, this guide, it's a thought experiment of the highest order. It forces you to look at your own life, your own skills, and ask yourself some hard questions. Are you a producer or just a consumer? Could you survive if the grocery stores closed tomorrow? Could you defend your family from a real, physical threat? It's heavy stuff. It makes you realize that maybe the most important survival tool isn't a weapon or a fortress, but a mindset. It's the will to live, the ability to adapt, and the intelligence to think your way out of an impossible situation. We are the ones with the big brains, after all. That's our superpower. We just have to remember to use it when things get weird. And who knows what the future holds? We're messing with genetics, with viruses, all kinds of powerful stuff. Is it really that far-fetched to think that some new plague could sweep the globe? Maybe it won't be the dead walking, but something equally terrifying. The principles are the same. Be prepared. Be smart. Be a survivor. Here's something to chew on. A little mental puzzle for you. Let's say you did it. You survived the apocalypse. You and your small group have a secure, thriving compound in some remote corner of the world. Years go by. The undead have mostly rotted away. You start sending out scouts, and they find other pockets of survivors. But here's the thing. These other groups have developed completely different societies. Some are brutal warlords, some are peaceful farmers, some are religious cults. They all survived, but they've all been changed by it. Do you try to reconnect with them and rebuild the world, knowing the risks of conflict and clashing ideologies? Or do you remain isolated, preserving the sanctuary you've built, and let humanity fracture into a bunch of new, separate species? What does it mean to be human if there's no longer a unified humanity? See you next time.